Dr. Kim Jia looked out the viewport at the endless black of space. Stars shined like tiny pins against the darkness. She took a deep breath and tried to calm her racing heart. Final approach to Helios 9 Medical Station. A flat voice said over the speakers. All passengers prepare for docking. Jia touched the small earth pin on her white coat. 6 months ago, she had been working in a busy Seoul hospital. Now she was about to become the first human doctor on the largest medical station in the galaxy. The ship shuddered as it slowed. Through the viewport, Helios 9 grew larger. It looked like a giant metal flower with 6 huge petals spreading out from a central hub. Lights sparkled across its surface. It's bigger than I thought, Jia whispered to herself. The transport ship slipped into a docking bay on one of the petals. With a soft hiss, the doors opened. Jia grabbed her small bag and joined the line of beings moving toward the exit. Most were not human. A tall, blue-skinned doctor with 4 arms carried several cases at once. A small, floating creature that looked like a glowing jellyfish drifted past her. 2 reptilian nurses with scales that changed colors talked in clicking sounds. Jia had studied alien biology for years to prepare for this job, but seeing so many different species in one place still amazed her. Dr. Kim Jia. A voice called her name as she entered the station. A thin man with perfect posture stood waiting. He had the symbol of Helios 9 on his uniform. Yes, that's me, Jia said. I am Director Lee, he said without smiling. Welcome to Helios 9. Your presence here is significant. He said the last word carefully, like he was choosing the nicest option. Thank you, Director. I'm ready to start work right away. Director Lee nodded. Follow me. The Chief Medical Officer wants to meet you. They walked through wide halls filled with medical staff from dozens of worlds. Many turned to stare at Jia. Humans were still rare in deep space. Your assignment is mostly symbolic, Director Lee said as they walked. Earth is new to the Galactic Federation. Your government pushed hard for human representation here. I'm a real doctor, Jia said. I didn't come here to be a symbol. Of course, Lee said, not sounding convinced. Here we are. They entered a large office where a tall doctor sat behind a floating desk. He had pale green skin and large dark eyes. The nameplate on his desk read Dr. Tak. The human doctor, Dr. Tak said, looking up from his screen. I've read your file. Your medical training is basic compared to our standards. Jia stood straighter. I was top of my class at Seoul Medical University. I have 7 years of emergency medicine experience. Dr. Tak blinked slowly. The oldest doctor on this station has been practicing for 300 years. Many species here discovered cures for diseases your people still die from centuries ago. I'm here to learn, Jia said, and to help. You'll be assigned to general medicine. Level 5. Nothing critical. Dr. Tak looked back at his screen. You're dismissed. As Jia left with Director Lee, an alarm sounded. A soft voice came over the speakers. Medical alert. Deck 12. Section C. Director Lee frowned. That's the 3rd alert from the lower decks this week. What's happening? Jia asked. Nothing to concern yourself with. Some of the service workers have reported illness. Minor symptoms. Dr. Tak believes it's just a common virus. Jia stopped walking. Could I see the cases? Back on Earth, I specialized in infectious disease patterns. Director Lee looked surprised. These are not humans, Dr. Kim. They are Nexians and Vorta workers. Their biology is very different. Disease patterns can be similar across species, Jia said. Please, I want to help. After a moment, Lee nodded. Very well. It might be good experience for you, but remember your place here, Dr. Kim. You are the newest and least experienced physician on this station. As they headed toward the lower decks, Jia felt a strange mix of excitement and worry. Something about this outbreak didn't sound right. 3 separate alerts in 1 week. She didn't know it yet, but this was the beginning of everything that would change her life forever. The elevator dropped quickly to Deck 12. Dr. Kim Jia felt her stomach rise as they descended through the massive station. Director Lee stood silently beside her, checking messages on his wrist device. The lower decks are where most service workers live, Director Lee explained as the doors opened. Maintenance, cleaning, food preparation. Essential, but less prestigious roles. Jia stepped out into a different world. Gone were the wide, bright hallways of the upper medical decks. Here, the corridors were narrow and dim. Pipes ran along the ceilings. The air smelled different. Not bad, but heavy with the sense of many species living in close quarters. They turned a corner and found a small crowd gathered outside a living area. A medical team was setting up equipment. They all wore protective suits. "What's the situation?" Director Lee asked. A tall doctor turned. His face was hidden behind a clear mask, but Jia could see 4 eyes blinking at them. 17 cases now, Director. All with the same symptoms: high fever, purple spots on skin or scales, and breathing difficulty. 3 different species affected. 3 species? Jia asked. That's unusual, isn't it? Most illnesses only affect one species or closely related ones. The 4-eyed doctor looked at her human face with interest. Yes, that's why we're taking extra precautions. But the medical eye says there's no serious threat. It's likely just coincidence. 3 different illnesses appearing at once. Jia frowned. May I see the patients? The doctor looked at Director Lee, who nodded. Give Dr. Kim a protection suit, Lee said. She has experience with infectious diseases. 10 minutes later, Jia stood in a makeshift treatment room, looking at 3 very different beings. One was a tall, thin alien with gray skin that reminded her of an elephant. Another looked almost human, except for the ridge of small horns on its forehead. The third was a small, furry creature with 6 limbs. All 3 had the same purple spots, though they appeared on different parts of their bodies. This is Park Han, the 4-eyed doctor said, pointing to the almost human patient. He's a maintenance worker who reported symptoms first. Then the others got sick. Park Han looked up at Jia with tired eyes. You're human? He asked in a weak voice. Yes, Jia said, moving closer. I'm Dr. Kim Jia. Can you tell me when you first felt sick? 3 days ago. After fixing air filters on Deck 9. Many others worked there too. He pointed weakly at the other patients. Jia checked their vital signs and examined the purple spots carefully. Something about them seemed familiar. She had seen this pattern before, but couldn't remember where. Have you checked for cross-species pathogens? She asked the 4-eyed doctor. The medical eye ran full scans. It found nothing that could infect multiple species this way. Jia took samples from each patient. I'd like to run my own tests, if that's allowed. Back in the corridor, Director Lee looked worried. 17 cases in 3 days, and now it's spreading across species. This doesn't seem minor anymore. Something strange about this, Jia said. The pattern of spots, the way it's spreading. It reminds me of something I studied back on Earth. Earth diseases couldn't possibly affect alien life forms, Lee said. No, but the pattern might be similar. Jia's mind was racing. I need access to a lab. Director Lee hesitated, then nodded. I'll give you limited access, but don't interfere with Dr. Tak's official investigation. As they headed back to the elevator, Jia heard the medical alert sound again. Medical emergency. Deck 10, Section A, multiple patients. Code yellow. Deck 10. Director Lee whispered, his eyes wide. It's spreading upward. It's moving faster than they predicted, Jia said. We don't have much time. The elevator doors closed, carrying them back up. Neither spoke, but both knew this was just the beginning of something terrible. Jia stared at the screen in the small lab she had been given. For 12 hours straight, she had studied the blood samples from the sick patients. The station's advanced medical computers had found nothing unusual, but Jia didn't trust machines alone. She trusted her eyes and her brain. This can't be right, she whispered, looking at the strange cells on her screen. The door slid open, and Dr. Tak walked in. His green face looked tired. "Dr. Kim," he said stiffly, "we have 43 cases now. The medical eye still claims there's no connection between them." "The AI is wrong," Jia said. "Look at this." She showed him the screen. "These cells are attacking the blood in the same way in all 3 species. That shouldn't be possible." Dr. Tak frowned. "Our systems would have detected that." "Your systems are looking for known patterns," Jia said. "This is something new, or something very old." "What do you mean?" Dr. Tak asked. Jia pulled up an old medical file from Earth. "This is a disease from Earth's history called crimson pox. It died out 300 years ago. The pattern is almost the same." Dr. Tak's large eyes blinked rapidly. "That's impossible. A human disease couldn't affect other species." "I don't think it's the same disease," Jia said. "But it works the same way. It doesn't attack the body directly. It turns the body's own defenses against itself." A loud alarm blared through the station. A voice announced, "All medical staff report to emergency stations. Quarantine protocols in effect." Dr. Tak's wrist device lit up. 117 new cases, he said, his voice shaking, including 3 senior doctors. Jia stood up quickly. "We need to talk to the patients, not just scan them. There must be a connection we're missing." "Talk to them." Dr. Tak looked confused. "The medical eye has all their data." "Data isn't everything," Jia said. "Sometimes you need to look a patient in the eyes and ask the right questions." Dr. Tak hesitated, then nodded. "Fine. You can join the crisis team." 2 hours later, Jia sat by Park Han's bed. He looked worse than before, his skin pale and covered with dark purple spots. "Think carefully," Jia said gently. "Before you got sick, did you go anywhere unusual? Eat anything different?" Park Han shook his head weakly. "Just work. Fixed air filters on decks 7, 9, and 11. Then checked cargo bay on deck 4. "Cargo bay." Jia's ears perked up. "Was there a new shipment?" "Yes," Han whispered. "Big containers. Very cold. From the Krell system." Jia made a note. She asked the same questions to 5 more patients. 3 had been near the cargo bay on deck 4. She found Dr. Tak in the main medical center, surrounded by floating screens showing patient data. "The cargo bay on deck 4, Jia said. "Many patients were there before getting sick." Dr. Tak typed something into his system. The manifest shows biological research materials. Perfectly legal. "We need to check it," Jia insisted. "That area is under the authority of Commander Choi," Dr. Tak said. "Security clearance is required." "Then let's get it," Jia said. "While we wait, more people will die." Dr. Tak stared at her for a long moment. "You're very direct for someone so junior." "I'm a doctor first, junior or not," Jia replied. To her surprise, Dr. Tak's mouth curved in what might have been a smile. "I'll contact Commander Choi." As they waited, Jia studied the disease pattern again. The way it spread, the way it affected different species in the same way. This was no accident. "This wasn't natural," she said suddenly. "Someone made this disease." Dr. Tak looked alarmed. "That's a serious accusation." "Look at the pattern." Jia pointed to her screen. "It's too perfect. Too designed." Before Dr. Tak could answer, the door opened. A stern-faced woman in a security uniform walked in. "I'm Commander Choi," she said coldly. "I understand you want access to secure cargo areas." Jia stood up straight. The fate of the station might depend on what she said next. Commander Choi crossed her arms and looked down at Jia. Though human like Jia, the security chief had none of the warmth that Jia tried to show her patients. "The cargo bay is restricted," Commander Choi said. "Those shipments have diplomatic protection." "People are dying," Jia said firmly. "Whatever is in that cargo bay might be the cause." Dr. Tak stepped forward. "Commander, we have over 200 cases now. This is a medical emergency." Commander Choi's face showed no emotion. "I need authorization from Director Lee." As if summoned by his name, the door slid open and Director Lee rushed in. His normally perfect hair was messy, and his eyes were wide with worry. "The Federation ambassador is sick," he said, his voice shaking. "And 2 council members. They want answers now." Commander Choi's stern face finally showed concern. "The ambassador? Are you certain?" "I just left their quarters," Director Lee said. "They have the same purple spots." Commander Choi tapped something on her wrist device. "You have clearance to the cargo bay. I'll meet you there." The cargo bay was huge and cold. Row after row of containers stretched into the distance. Some were small enough to hold in one hand. Others were bigger than houses. "The manifest shows the suspicious containers are in Section 12, Dr. Tak said, looking at his device. They walked through the maze of containers until they reached Section 12. There they found 3 large silver boxes with warning signs in multiple languages. "Biological research materials," Commander Choi read from the label. "From Krell Biotech Corporation." Krell Biotech. Director Lee's face went pale. "They make weapons." Jia stepped closer to examine the container. "It's been leaking," she said, pointing to a small crack in the seal. "Just a tiny amount, but enough to get into the air system." "How do we know what's inside?" Dr. Tak asked. Commander Choi touched her security badge to the container's lock. With a hiss, the top opened slightly. Cold mist poured out. "Be careful," Jia warned. Inside the container were rows of small vials filled with purple liquid. Each had a different label. "These are test samples," Jia said, reading the labels. "Different versions of the same pathogen, designed to affect different species." "A bioweapon," Director Lee whispered. Commander Choi's face hardened. This container was supposed to go to the Krell Military Research Facility. It was diverted here illegally. "Why would anyone send a bioweapon to our medical station?" Dr. Tak asked. "To test it," Jia realized with horror. "A medical station has every species in the galaxy. It's the perfect testing ground." A soft beep came from one of the vials. Then another, and another. "What's happening?" Director Lee asked, backing away. Jia looked closer. Tiny timers on each vial were counting down. "They're set to open automatically." "We need to get these off the station now," Commander Choi said urgently. Before they could move, a loud explosion shook the cargo bay. Alarms blared. Red emergency lights flashed. "That came from the main docking bay," Commander Choi said, checking her device. "We're under attack." Director Lee's wrist device lit up with an urgent message. "Central Medical reports the disease is spreading faster. Over 500 cases now." Jia felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold room. "This isn't random," she said. "The explosion, the disease, it's all connected." As they rushed from the cargo bay, Jia's mind raced. Who would create such a terrible weapon? And why use it now? In the hallway, they nearly ran into Park Han. He was pale and sweating, barely able to stand, but his eyes were clear and determined. "Dr. Kim," he gasped, "I know who brought those containers aboard. I saw them, but they're looking for me now." "Who?" Jia asked. Before Han could answer, a shadow moved at the end of the hall. A flash of light streaked toward them. "Get down," Commander Choi shouted, pushing Jia to the floor just as the wall behind them exploded. 4 hours after injecting herself with the modified pathogen, Jia lay on a bed in the lab, shivering. Her skin burned with fever. Small purple spots had appeared on her arms. "Her temperature is rising," Dr. Tak said, checking the medical scanner. "Heart rate elevated." "Is she going to die?" Park Han asked quietly from the corner where he sat, still weak from his own illness. "Not if I can help it," Dr. Tak said with unexpected determination. He adjusted the settings on a medical device hovering over Jia's bed. Director Lee paced nervously. "Commander Choi reports over 1,000 cases now. The station's main systems are starting to fail as too many staff are sick." Jia opened her eyes. Her voice was weak but clear. The spots, are they getting darker? Dr. Tak looked at her arms. No, they're staying light purple. In the real disease, they turn dark purple then black. Jia nodded slightly. That's good. It means it's working. My body is fighting it, but not overreacting. She closed her eyes again, too weak to keep talking. 6 more hours passed. Dr. Tak didn't leave Jia's side. He monitored every change in her body with increasing amazement. Her immune system is producing antibodies that recognize the pathogen, he told Director Li. But the modified version isn't causing the harmful effects. It's exactly as she predicted. Will it work for non-humans too? Director Li asked. The theory is sound, Dr. Tak admitted. Since the original pathogen was designed to work across species, this modified version should create immunity across species too. Suddenly, Jia sat up, gasping. Everyone rushed to her side. Are you okay? Park Han asked, concerned. Jia took several deep breaths. The fever's breaking. Check my blood. Dr. Tak took a sample and ran it through the analyzer. His eyes widened as he read the results. The antibodies have neutralized the pathogen, he said with wonder in his voice. Your immune system now recognizes it and knows how to fight it. Jia nodded. We need to produce as much of the modified pathogen as possible. Give it to the sickest patients first. I'll authorize it immediately, Director Li said, already typing commands into his device. As the others worked, Commander Choi slipped into the lab. Her uniform was torn, and she had a burn mark on her cheek. The attackers have taken control of the docking bay, she reported. They've disabled communications with the rest of the station, and they're looking for you, Dr. Kim. Me? Jia asked, surprised. Why? They know someone is working on a cure, Commander Choi said. They want to stop it from being distributed. We need to get to the central medical facility, Dr. Tak said. That's the only place with equipment large enough to produce the treatment in quantity. Commander Choi shook her head. The central medical facility is cut off. The attackers have control of all main corridors. Park Han stood up, looking stronger than before. I know another way, he said. Through the air filtration system. It's tight, but we can make it. Once we get there, Jia said, we'll need to add the treatment to the station's air supply. Everyone will breathe it in. That's against every safety protocol, Director Li objected. Do you have a better idea? Jia asked. If we don't act now, everyone on this station will die. Director Li looked around at their faces, then nodded. Do it. As they prepared to leave, Dr. Tak approached Jia. What you did was incredibly brave, he said quietly. Taking that risk on yourself. That's what doctors do, Jia replied simply. At least, that's what human doctors do. Dr. Tak's expression changed, showing new respect. Perhaps humans have more to teach us than I thought. Commander Choi checked her weapon. We need to move now. The attackers are getting closer. Jia stood up, still weak but determined. She carried a small container of the modified pathogen. A simple solution that might save thousands of lives. Ready, she said. The fate of the station was now in their hands. Park Han pulled open a small panel near the floor. This air duct leads to the central medical facility. It's narrow, but we can fit. Commander Choi went first, weapon ready. Then Jia, carefully holding the container of modified pathogen. Dr. Tak followed, with Director Li and Park Han at the rear. The air duct was dark and tight. Jia could barely see the shape of Commander Choi ahead of her. They crawled on hands and knees, trying to move as quietly as possible. Stop, Commander Choi whispered suddenly. Listen. From somewhere ahead came voices. They weren't speaking any language Jia recognized. Krell mercenaries, Commander Choi whispered. They must be in the room below us. They moved forward slowly, careful not to make any noise. Through small vents in the duct, Jia could see glimpses of the hallways below. Armed figures in dark uniforms moved through the corridors. Some were checking rooms, others guarded key areas. There are so many of them, Jia whispered. This is more than just testing a bioweapon, Commander Choi said. They're trying to take over the station. They reached a junction where the ducts split in 3 directions. Park Han pointed to the right. That way leads to the central air system. The other goes to the medical facility. We need to split up, Commander Choi said. I'll take Dr. Kim to the air system. Dr. Tak, you and Director Lee go to the medical facility with Park Han. Start producing more of the treatment. That's too dangerous. Director Lee objected. We should stay together. There's no time, Jia said. Commander Choi is right. We need to do both things at once. They separated. Jia and Commander Choi crawled through increasingly narrow ducts. The metal was cold against Jia's hands. Her arms ached, but she kept going. The lives of everyone on the station depended on it. Finally, they'd reached a large chamber. Through a vent, they could see the massive central air processing unit. It hummed loudly, pumping air throughout the entire station. There's a guard, Commander Choi whispered, pointing to a Krell mercenary standing by the door. How do we get past him? Jia asked. Commander Choi checked her weapon. I'll create a distraction. When he leaves his post, you get to the control panel and add your treatment to the air system. Be careful, Jia said. Commander Choi nodded, then moved away through a different duct. Minutes later, Jia heard a loud crash from somewhere down the corridor. The guard ran to investigate. Jia pushed open the vent and dropped into the room. She ran to the central air unit, her heart pounding in her chest. The control panel was complex, with labels in multiple languages. Basic air intake, she muttered, searching the controls. There. She found a port designed for adding purification elements to the air. Working quickly, she connected her container of modified pathogen. The machine hummed as it began to process the new element. Suddenly, the door burst open. A Krell mercenary stood there, weapon raised. His skin was gray and rough, like stone. Step away from the machine, he ordered in broken standard language. Jia slowly raised her hands. It's too late. The treatment is already entering the air system. The mercenary snarled and aimed his weapon at her. Before he could fire, Commander Choi appeared behind him. There was a brief struggle, then the mercenary fell. We need to get out of here, Commander Choi said, breathing hard. More will come. Jia checked the air unit's display. It's working. The treatment is spreading through the station's ventilation system. Her wrist device beeped with a message from Dr. Tak. Production started. First doses administered to critical patients, already seeing improvement. It's working, Jia said, feeling hope for the first time in days. A loud explosion shook the room. Red emergency lights began flashing. What was that? Jia asked. Commander Choi checked her security device. Her face went pale. They're trying to disable life support. We need to get to the command center now. As they rushed from the room, Jia realized the battle was far from over. Commander Choi led Jia through back corridors toward the command center. Twice they had to hide as groups of Krell mercenaries ran past. Why are they attacking the life support systems? Jia asked as they crouched behind a storage container. They want to force everyone to evacuate, Commander Choi explained. Then they can take control of the station. But the treatment is already in the air, Jia said. People will start getting better soon. They don't know that, Commander Choi replied. Come on, we're close. They reached a sealed door marked Command Center. Commander Choi placed her hand on the scanner, but the light stayed red. They changed the security codes, she said, frustrated. Jia's wrist device beeped. It was a message from Dr. Tak. Over 50% of patients showing improvement. Park Han has recovered completely. Where are you? Jia quickly sent back their location. Minutes later, they heard movement in the ventilation shaft above them. Park Han's face appeared at a vent. Dr. Kim, he called softly. The command center is sealed from inside, but I can get you in through the emergency maintenance tunnel. He led them to a narrow passage behind a wall panel. It was barely wide enough for one person. They crawled through darkness until they reached another panel. This opens into the command center, Park Han whispered, but there are at least 3 mercenaries inside. Commander Choi checked her weapon. I'll handle them. Wait, Jia said. We don't need to fight. Look. She pointed to the air vents in the command center. A fine mist was coming through, her modified pathogen. They've been breathing it in, Jia said. They'll be immune soon, but they don't know about the real disease yet. She took out a small medical device and adjusted its settings. This is a diagnostic scanner. I can modify it to detect the original pathogen. Jia worked quickly. When she finished, the scanner emitted a soft blue light. Ready, she said. Open the panel. Park Han pushed open the panel. 3 Krell mercenaries turned in surprise, raising their weapons. Stop, Jia shouted, stepping forward with the scanner held high. This device detects the deadly pathogen you released. You've all been exposed. The mercenaries looked at each other uncertainly. Your leaders didn't tell you, did they? Jia continued. They released a bioweapon on this station, a disease that kills every species, including yours. The scanner beeped loudly. The mercenaries looked alarmed. You're already infected, Jia said. But I can save you. I'm a doctor. I've created a treatment. One mercenary, clearly the leader, hesitated. You lie, he growled. Look at your skin, Jia said. Check for purple spots. The mercenaries examined their gray, stone-like skin. The leader's eyes widened as he found a small purple mark on his arm. The disease is already working, Jia said. Soon you won't be able to breathe. But my treatment can save you if you surrender now. The leader lowered his weapon slowly. What must we do? Call your people, Commander Choi said, stepping forward. Tell them to stand down. Within an hour, the mercenaries across the station had surrendered. Security teams took them into custody. The command center was back under control. Director Lee entered, looking tired but relieved. Dr. Tak reports the treatment is working. Patients everywhere are recovering. And the bioweapon? Jia asked. Neutralized completely, Director Lee said. Your treatment has made everyone immune. Dr. Tak joined them, his green face showing clear respect as he looked at Jia. What you did was impossible by our medical standards, he said. You saved us all. Jia smiled tiredly. Not impossible, just human. Later, as Jia stood in the observation deck looking out at the stars, Director Lee approached her. The Federation Council has called an emergency meeting, he said. They want you to testify about what happened here, about the Krell bioweapon, and about your treatment. Me? Jia asked, surprised. Yes, Director Lee said. Dr. Kim Jia of Earth, the doctor who saved Helios 9 and exposed a galactic conspiracy. Jia looked out at the endless stars. She had come here as a symbol, the first human doctor on a galactic station. Now she was something more. She was a legend in the making. 1 year had passed since the attack on Helios 9. The station looked different now. New security systems had been installed. The lower decks had been renovated and improved. And at the heart of the medical center stood a new academy with a simple sign, Integrated Medical Studies. Dr. Kim Jia walked through the academy halls, watching students from 20 different species studying together. Some used advanced holographic displays to examine cellular structures. Others practiced the old human way of direct observation and hands-on examination. Dr. Kim, a voice called from behind her. Park Han approached, wearing the uniform of a senior maintenance supervisor. The purple spots on his skin had faded to faint marks, badges of honor from the crisis they'd survived. Han, Jia said with a smile. How are the new air filtration systems working? Better than ever, Han said proudly. And I've been teaching the maintenance crews about what to look for. Unusual containers, unexpected shipments. Good, Jia nodded. We can't be too careful. They walked together to the main lecture hall. Through the glass doors, Jia could see the room was full. Dr. Tak stood at the front, using his 4 long fingers to point at a diagram of immune system responses. And that's why human medical traditions offer valuable insights, Dr. Tak was saying. Their evolutionary approach to medicine gives them perspectives our technology sometimes misses. Jia smiled. Dr. Tak had become her strongest supporter, helping to create the new academy where traditional and advanced medical practices were taught side by side. Dr. Kim, a soft voice said. Director Lee approached. His uniform is perfect as always. The Federation ambassador has arrived. They're waiting in your office. Jia thanked him and headed to her office. Once Dr. Tak's, now hers as the academy director. Inside, a tall, elegant alien with shimmering blue skin stood looking out the viewport. Ambassador, Jia said with a respectful bow. Welcome to Helios 9. Dr. Kim Jia. The ambassador turned. Your reputation spreads throughout the galaxy. The doctor who saved a station and exposed the Krell bioweapon program. I was just doing my job, Jia said. With humility, too, the ambassador noted. A very human trait, I'm told. The ambassador handed Jia a small device. On it was an official message from the Federation Council. A crisis has developed on Proxima Station, the ambassador explained. A mysterious illness is spreading. 3 medical teams have failed to identify it. And you want me to go, Jia said, understanding immediately. Not just you, the ambassador replied. We request your entire approach. Human doctors working alongside our most advanced medical eye. Traditional observation combined with modern technology. When do we leave? Jia asked. Tomorrow, if you accept. Jia thought about her journey, from being the token human doctor to founding a new medical academy. From being dismissed as primitive to being requested by name for the most challenging cases. I'll need to bring a team, she said. Dr. Tak, certainly. And Park Han, he sees things others miss. Of course, the ambassador agreed. Commander Choi has already volunteered to handle security. Later that evening, Jia packed a small bag in her quarters. On her desk sat a photo of her old team back on Earth. They would be proud, she thought. One human doctor, making the difference among the stars. As Jia headed to the shuttle bay the next morning, she was surprised to find the corridors lined with station staff. Doctors, nurses, maintenance workers, security officers. Beings from dozens of worlds stood in silence as she passed. Dr. Tak waited at the shuttle door. They came to see you off, he explained. The doctor who showed us that sometimes the oldest wisdom is the best medicine. Commander Choi stood at attention. Ready when you are, Doctor. Park Han gave her a thumbs up, a human gesture he had learned from her. As the shuttle pulled away from Helios 9, Jia looked back at the station that had changed her life. She had arrived as just a doctor, the token human in an advanced galactic community. She was leaving as a legend. But tomorrow, on a new station facing a new threat, she would simply be what she had always been. A doctor who believed in looking her patients in the eyes, human and proud of it.